He's the man with no name, the squint-eyed legend who stared down outlaws and Hollywood itself. From a fistful of dollars to a $1 million baby, Clint Eastwood has defined American cinema for over 60 years. Now, at 95, he's not just a memory on a movie screen. He's still directing, still creating, still defying the very concept of time. But lately, a different kind of story has been spreading online. Whispers that he's battling not one, but two forms of cancer. So what's the truth? What's just a rumor? And in a world that moves so fast, why do we still need legends like him? Let's separate the facts from the fiction. The internet is a wild west of information, and headlines about Clint Eastwood's health have been running rampant. But when you look for credible sources, the story changes completely. Let's start with what we know for a fact. Clint Eastwood was born on May 31, 1930, which means he'll be turning a remarkable 95 years old in 2025. Far from being sidelined by illness, he recently directed his latest film, Juror Shark 2, which reportedly earned a standing ovation at its premiere. There are no hospital records, no statements from his family, and absolutely no reports from trusted media outlets like the Associated Press or Deadline confirming any cancer diagnosis. His publicist has consistently debunked similar rumors in the past. So where do these stories come from? They often originate from clickbait websites, AI-generated news articles, and social media posts that prey on our affection for beloved figures. We see a headline that makes our hearts sink, and we share it out of concern, accidentally spreading misinformation. The psychology behind this is fascinating. We fear losing our icons because they represent a part of our own lives, a sense of stability and permanence. Eastwood, for many, is a symbol of strength and endurance. The idea of him being vulnerable is unsettling, but it is crucial to remember that we can admire him and be concerned for his well-being without inventing or spreading unverified claims of illness. The truth is, his life at 95 is already a powerful story of resilience, and it doesn't need fabricated drama. So if he's not battling cancer, what are his real battles? The answer is far more interesting. Clint Eastwood's true fight isn't against a disease. It's against time and the expectations of a youth-obsessed industry that has been telling him to retire for decades. Think about it. How many directors are still in the game, let alone at the top of their game in their 90s? He's had to defend his artistic choices, with films like Richard Jewell and Cry Macho facing mixed reviews, yet he continues to tell the stories he wants to tell. He fiercely guards his privacy while living a very public life. His secret? Unrelenting discipline. He's known to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise, and be personally involved in every stage of filmmaking, from directing to editing. In a recent interview, he put it plainly, "I don't think about retiring. Work is what keeps you alive." This isn't a man winding down. This is a man who has made his work his lifeblood, and his work continues to shape the future of cinema. The legacy Clint Eastwood is building isn't a relic of the past. It's happening right now. His latest film, Juror Nuri 2, tackles complex themes of justice, doubt, and redemption. The very same moral questions he has explored throughout his career, now viewed through the lens of a 94-year-old master. He's not just making films, he's mentoring the next generation. Actors like Nicholas Hoult have spoken about the incredible experience of working with him. His influence is everywhere, seen in the work of acclaimed directors like Denis Villeneuve and Jordan Peele, and of course in his own son, Scott Eastwood, who is forging his own path in Hollywood. There's a fantastic archive interview where Clint says, "I've been lucky, but luck runs out, so you work while you can." That quote perfectly captures his ethos. He's not waiting for inspiration to strike or for permission to create. He's simply doing the work, day in and day out. So let's set the record straight. Clint Eastwood's greatest act of defiance isn't surviving a rumored illness. It's thriving and creating world-class art at 95. in a culture that often suggests our value fades with age. 1964, a fistful of dollars exploded across Europe. Made for just $200,000, it earned over $14 million worldwide. But in America, it was still banned, trapped in legal battles over its unlicensed remake of Yojimbo. Yet Sergio Leone knew this was only the beginning. Leone wanted a bigger story, a deeper conflict. Not just one bounty hunter, but two. And not just money, but revenge. He brought back Clint Eastwood as Manco, the one-armed, but gave the emotional core to a new character, Colonel Douglas Mortimer, played by veteran actor Lee Van Cleef. Van Cleef had been reduced to bit parts in Hollywood, but Leone saw something others missed: quiet intensity. A man who carried death in his silence. Filming began in Almeria, Spain, in the same barren landscapes that stood in for the American Southwest. Budget? Just $600,000. Conditions were brutal: 120-degree force heat, dust storms, and a language barrier so thick, Eastwood learned to communicate through gestures and spaghetti. Eastwood, now more confident, pushed back on Leone's perfectionism. "Sergio would do 20 takes of me just walking," he later said. "I'd say, 'It's walking, not Hamlet.'" But that obsession birthed cinema as most iconic details. The cigarillo dangling from Eastwood's lip, the poncho that became his second skin, and that stare that said everything without a word. Every great Western needs a great villain. And in Indio, Leone created something terrifyingly human. Played by Italian star Gian Maria Volonté, Indio wasn't just evil. He was haunted. A man driven by trauma, opium, and a pocket watch that chimed before every murder. This was revolutionary. In 1965, villains didn't have backstories. They didn't suffer. But Indio's pain made his cruelty feel real. And that made the hero's quest morally complex. Are Manco and Mortimer justice? Or just killers with better aim? Notice how Leone uses silence. No dialogue. Just wind, footsteps, and that relentless tick-tock. Time isn't just passing, it's counting down to violence. Before Ennio Morricone, westerns had orchestral scores, sweeping strings, heroic brass. Morricone said, "No, this world is raw. It needs whip cracks, electric guitars, and whistling." Each character got their own musical identity. Eastwood, the coyote-like whistle. Van Cleef, the mournful harmonica, symbolizing his dead sister. Indio, the music box melody, innocence corrupted. This wasn't background music. It was storytelling. Morricone didn't accompany the image. He replaced dialogue. Today, that score is as iconic as the images. But in 1965, studios hated it. They called it noise. Leone refused to change a note. When For a Few Dollars More hit Europe in late 1965, it was a sensation. By 1967, after legal battles ended, it stormed U.S. theaters and made $15 million. Suddenly, Hollywood noticed the Western wasn't dead. It just needed a new language. Eastwood's anti-hero inspired generations. Charles Bronson's stoicism. Robert De Niro's Travis Bickle. Even Keanu Reeves' John Wick. All owe a debt to the man in the poncho. And for Eastwood, this film proved he wasn't a fluke, he was a star. By 1968, he'd leave TV behind and never look back. Watch For a Few Dollars. More today, and you'll see more than a Western. You'll see the birth of modern cinema, extreme close-ups that reveal souls, moral ambiguity over clear good versus evil, style as substance. Leone didn't just make movies. He painted with light, shadow, and silence. And Eastwood? He carried these lessons into his own directing. Unforgiven is, in many ways, a 30-year reply to For a Few Dollars More, asking, what if the bounty hunter lives long enough to regret? For a Few Dollars More wasn't just a film. It was a declaration. that legends aren't born in Hollywood boardrooms, but in the dust, the heat, and the courage to break every rule. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of cinema's greatest partnerships, smash that like button, subscribe to Buzz of Legends, and hit the bell so you never miss a story. Next time, the good, the bad, and the ugly. How three men, one war, and a cemetery changed film forever. Until then, keep your aim true and your legends alive.